Hi, everyone. So glad to be here with you this morning. I want to insert drives recurring revenue. Asterisk. We're going to add that in there. So thank you all so much for being here this morning. So I want to dive right in. I want to tell you a story back in 2011. So picture for a second, where were you in 2011 for a minute? Are you there? You got it? Okay. So I was standing in front of a red box. Does anybody remember those to rent a movie? Yeah, throwback, right? And I was with a friend, and we were trying to decide what movie to rent. Nothing specific. We decided on this movie called The Whistleblower. It was a drama. It looked like it was a government thriller. It looked like it would be enticing, interesting. So sit down on the couch, grab the Cabernet, getting ready to watch the movie. And it unraveled to be the story. I don't know if anybody's seen this movie, the story of Catherine Bokelvach. She was a Nebraska police officer, and she ended up becoming a UN worker. And she went over to Bosnia, and she uncovered a human trafficking ring within the UN in Bosnia. And I will never forget the 5 words at the end of that movie based on a true story. That was my first experience learning about human trafficking, and it changed everything for me. At the time, I was working for a nonprofit in Sarasota, Florida called Take Stock in Children, and monthly giving was something we never talked about, we never considered. If it sounds familiar, we were just kind of asking the same donors to give annually or over and over and over again at that time. And I started to have this feeling within me that I wanted to get more involved in specifically this new cause area that I just heard about. I moved to New York City. When I was in New York, I learned about A21 from going to Hillsong Church and hearing from Christine Kane. I walked in the Freedom March. I was still in my early 20s. I started my company in 2017. I moved to Los Angeles. And that's where I stumbled upon Dressember. Dressember is an organization that has now been recently acquired by International Justice Mission, but I found Blythe Hill. She's the founder, and I found Blythe through her TED Talk. This TED Talk video brought 9 years of passion and mission and desire and belief in wanting to do something. And when Dressember was founded in 2009. Monthly giving wasn't on their radar either. But by 2018, they had created the collective. And when I started to learn about this mission, I signed up as a monthly donor without being asked, without being sent an appeal or a campaign or an email or a direct mail piece or seeing a social ad. I saw Blythe. And my belief found a home in the work that she was doing. So 9 years later, I made a decision from a belief that originated in 2011. And this is what I want us to really sit with today, is that there are millions of people probably out there that have a belief in what you do, but have they heard about you yet? And is the content out there, the messaging out there, that when they do find you, they also find that they have found their home? So this is where we're going to sit. We talk a lot about, and I talk a lot about too sometimes, the harvest, the campaign, the ask, the appeal, the when we're going to do something, the end of year appeal pushes, instead of the soil. So really thinking about the nutrients of what are we putting out there that's going to bring in the people that already have the belief, but just haven't found it yet with us, so that monthly giving isn't an option. It seems like the only possible solution to fit the values and the belief of the individuals that you're going after. So we don't have monthly giving problems. I like to call it, we have a belief growth opportunities. The donors are out there. They believe in your missions. They believe in your causes. They give monthly to probably lots of other organizations right now, which I'm going to show you I am living proof of. They're giving like this. They are giving definitely in a subscription mentality like this. but have we given them a reason to join us in this way? And belief is buildable, and so that's what we're going to envision together. This is going to be a very interactive session. You're going to be talking amongst your tables with each other. And to give you a little bit of a brief, Brian mentioned that I am semi-obsessed with monthly giving. That is absolutely true. When I started my business in 2017, as I mentioned, I was a digital marketer, and I was working with nonprofits in this way. When I had my love of Dressember and being part of the collective, I started asking all the nonprofits I was working with, why don't you have a monthly giving program? And the answers were, I don't know where to start. I'm not sure what to do. Technology has changed a lot. I found Fundraise up around 2020, around that time. There's been a lot of progress that's allowed us to be able to move in this new direction. That's been following the subscription economy in a really dynamic way. So I decided to launch a summit around it in 2024, and to my shock and awe, at first 2,900 people registered from about 40 countries. Now we've had our third annual, and nearly 5,000 people register from about 60 plus countries. So needless to say, monthly giving is on everyone's minds about how we grow sustainable, predictable revenue. So my book, The Monthly Giving Mastermind, and then just recently anybody tinkered around with Vibe AI? Has anybody played with Replit or Lovable? Okay. Massive potential unlock if you have not already. So I built a Vibe AI tool SaaS product called the Monthly Giving Builder. It is a monthly giving strategy tool to help organizations build, launch, grow, scale, plan their monthly giving programs. You all can definitely be using Vibe AI to build out specific tools and things that you need, whether it's on the programming or the fundraising side. It's just about having curiosity. So I won't go too far down the rabbit hole on that. But as I mentioned, I am also an avid monthly donor myself. So I don't just talk about it. I also live and breathe it. So these are all organizations that I give to on a monthly basis, December being the longest. And I really believe that having a strong monthly giving program comes down to if you believe that it is your core infrastructure at your organization. So what is the belief growth opportunity? What does this mean? Well, let's look at some numbers, shall we? So some research that comes up, 58.6% of recurring donors gave without being asked. Sit with that for a second. Without being asked. We might think that's crazy. Well, I was just proof that I was one of those. I wasn't asked by December. I immediately, and recurring first is how I gave to them because of the belief. So more than half of people out there have decided to give in this way. So that means if you're doing great work and you're showcasing that, more than half would be willing to give because they know you're doing important work. That's the soil. That's what we're building. That's what we're cultivating. The appeal. So I pulled this from Chiri Nkosi. He just wrote a book, Neurogiving, The Science of Neurogiving, talking about dual appeal messaging. So speaking both to the donor's desires to help and the personal fulfillment that they get from giving. So this is about really finding where they are. Does the language, and we're going to go through an audit momentarily about this, but does the language, the copy, the messaging that you currently have in emails, on your website, in socials, is it speaking to this or is it speaking to something else? And we're going to take a minute. We're actually going to pull up our phones and we're going to look at this together. So we want to name both things. We want to name the impact and we want to name the identity of the individual. Lastly, M&R benchmarks study just came out, a month ago? 27% of all online revenue now comes from monthly giving. What's interesting about this is, I'm going to talk about the Canadian Red Cross in just a second, but in 2021, 2022, and they've been a part of the M&R benchmarks data for a while. Anybody here part of the benchmarks data set? Okay, one. They send you, if you are part of the study, they send you your comparison, right? An individual comparison about how you compare. And they realized their recurring was about 2%. When you see data points like this, and if you in your mind can think about what is our percentage of recurring revenue in relating to all of the revenue that we have, and if you're like, that is the number we really need to work on, again, for that sustainable, predictable revenue source. That should turn some wheels to have us shifting the direction of we need to pay attention to this revenue stream. And then continuing on, the average recurring donor lifetime, I'm not going to talk about retention too much today, but if it's almost 8 years, this is something the subscription economy that we have on them, that is not what the average retention rate looks like in the for-profit space, unless you're a doorbell subscription or Netflix maybe. But mostly, they're smaller in scale with numbers here. So some of you have donors who have probably been giving for a decade. I've worked with organizations who have monthly donors who have been giving for 20 years that turn into legacy gifts that probably exists in your organizations as well. Like, do you know who they are? Do you treat them as the investors that they truly are in this case? These numbers don't lie. If there's an 78 to 80% recurring donor retention rate, but one-time donors are at 32%, and yet, 64% of nonprofits choose to still default their donation page to one-time giving. We have been perpetuating a culture of asking for one-time gifts. I was at a conference at the end of last year, and an organization came up to me saying, we read your book, we love it, we've been working so much on our monthly giving program. And then I was like, wow, okay, great. Like, we're in the fall, right? Tell me about your end of year appeal. How are you including monthly giving? And she paused and said, we actually haven't integrated monthly at all into our end of year appeal. It was just going on like normal, because we're doing kind of what we've always done to get a little bit percentage better, but not seeing significant shifts. So again, this isn't a technology problem. The technology exists. It goes back to the belief opportunity that if we present this forward and remove the fear, what's the potential and opportunity that we can call in our believers to our work? Secondly, another report, this just came out from the Giving Tuesday Data Commons from the Fundraising Effectiveness Project report. In 2025, I'm going to read this really slowly. The median organization had only 4% of donors on recurring schedules. And at least half acquired no new recurring donors at all. At all. This goes back to, are we treating monthly giving as core infrastructure, or is it an optional add-on? If we want to change the culture of giving to provide a more sustainable lift predictability for our organization so that when major things happen across the globe, in the country, we're not in full shock mode. We have a strong base to support us. And I think sometimes this happens because we see monthly donors as a $25 a month donor instead of their lifetime value. If you calculate $25 times 12 months in a year times the average, which is the 8 years, you find your $2,400 investor in your mission. That's your mid-level donor. That's identity. That's longevity. That's somebody who believes in the vision of your organization and where you're going. So when we bring this up to board meetings and leadership, we need to stop thinking in the monthly gift amounts and really start thinking about the lifetime value of what these donors bring to us. So I want you to feel this like in your gut and your core for a second. Does anybody like off the top of your head know right now what your LTV is for your monthly donors? Okay, we're going to configure it together. So scan this QR code, scroll down on the page. It's going to direct you to the builder page, but if you scroll down, there's a calculator. It's going to take you to, it's a free monthly donor lifetime value calculator. It takes 60 seconds. You're going to put in your average gift, your current number of monthly donors, or dream. You could dream about how many you want there to be. So what if you had 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, a million? What could that look like? And let me know when you're there. Let me know what it tells you. It's also going to tell you how much you can spend to acquire a monthly donor, now knowing the lifetime value. Oh, I saw some excitement from a table. And in this case, you're not calculating a donation, like you're calculating the impact of really getting serious about core infrastructure of monthly giving at your organizations. That's the number you're looking at. I would love to hear, like, pop out some LTVs. Has anybody gotten the results? Okay, what do we got? I see. 1,560. Love it. Who else? LTVs. See people still on their phones calculating, still going through. So think about, write it down. What's populating for you? What's coming up with this number? So here's the core principle, and what I really want you to walk away with today, and what we're going to go through here shortly in an exercise, is building your pre-gift strategy around building belief before the ask. They already believe it. We're going to confirm it for them. We are going to be the solution for them. It's finding where that belief lives for them. So this is why it matters. This is why the language, the copy, the simplification of the technology. Chirian, who I mentioned earlier, said, if it requires mental effort, donors disengage. If an appeal is too complex, if it demands a lot of mental effort, some donors will disengage or postpone their generosity decision. And this is way more prevalent on mobile because of our busy attention spans. We think about your own last time you did a donor experience and you went through making a gift, right? Every second that a donor has to think, am I on the right page? What does this mean? Is this me? Instead of like, yes, and like going through the process. One idea per touch point with them, specific, simple, emotionally relevant, telling that story. So this is the framework that I guide organizations through. There's 5 steps from create the product, make it easy, call in the believers, make the ask, and share constant joy and gratitude. Create the product, you'll see here, is literally about it's naming it, understanding the why, making it feel like a product within the organization, within the work. Making it easy is all about the tech. But then I've circled for today, call in the believers, which is before make the ask, which is why I'm first and why the other speakers will be after. So everything happens here before, in the call in the believers, before an ask is even received. So by the time you ask, right, we just talked about this, 58% have already decided. So it's not the ask that's doing the lift. It's the soil and everything else that you're planting surrounding it. I just had a really interesting conversation with Brady Josephson. He used to work at Charity Water. He is now at World Vision Canada. And we were asking him about Charity Water and the Spring, the monthly giving program they built. And I was asking about retention and their retention strategies. And he said, you know what? We've tested when we do a really good job at the belief building, at the awareness building, at telling a message that calls people in, what we do on the retention side doesn't actually matter that much. They're bought in. They don't leave. And so everything that I've been teaching and looking at is how do we build in the awareness stage with a retention first belief mindset. So awareness. Awareness is a marketing budget line item and should be. Awareness is infrastructure, retention first, recurring first. It's the foundation for everything else to be built on if we truly want a culture of people to give in this way. What are we advising them to do? What are we advising them to do? You are advisors in your copy, through all of your channels, through how you present it when they come to a page. If you are leading it as secondary, they're going to think it's secondary for you. Oh, they don't actually want me to take that action. They want me to do something else. So let's talk about what this means. Monthly giving not as the upsell, right? It's not just a campaign that you might have once or twice a year. It's the infrastructure that you truly build every day. If something's core infrastructure, think about what might be core in your organization right now. It probably has a team or a staff member. It probably has a budget line item. It probably has a agenda line item at a board meeting or in a leadership meeting. Is monthly treated this way as well? So shifting from this upsell thinking to infrastructure thinking is a really big difference that has to come from leadership down. Because believers don't need to be convinced, they just need to be found, and you need to be findable as the source for them. So 4 things that change when we do have this different culture mindset internally. 1, messaging. Are we writing for believers or are we writing for donors? Transactional based. Positioning. Are we positioning it as fundamental, as foundational? Do we know what our blockers are? Have we identified them? And if you haven't, we're about to do that. So what is stopping a recurring first approach right now? We had a conversation at dinner a little bit last night about this. About things pop up and there's urgency and we just need to get appeals up. But what happens if we had always turned on right now, so that 5 years something happens, oh wait, we had a recurring first approach. We have a significant base of supporters that have our back. And goals. Internally in your organization, are you thinking with a 10x mindset or a 10% mindset? And this is a big one. So we're going to spend some time talking about number 4 and number 5 on these two. So let's start with blockers. Before we go to 10x goals, I think it's really important to identify what might be holding us back from moving forward in this way before we can start to think expansively. So I want you to be honest with yourself about these and what you might be percolating inside, thinking about. There's absolutely no judgment here, but could it be board pressure? Board, they want major gifts, not $25 a month. They're not thinking about LTV, or maybe it hasn't been presented them in that way. Technology. Does your platform support recurring giving growth? Does it support what you need it to do? Donor assumptions. Have you told yourself, or there's just this internal belief or fear that your donors won't give monthly? Or we don't want to take our one-time donors and risk losing the one-times to get recurring. There's some fear or scarcity mindset around that. Past failures. You might be like, we've tried this before, and monthly giving doesn't work for us, and you are carrying that. What happens if we rethink that a bit? What happens if we do knowledge sharing with each other? Did we fully digest what it was about that campaign or that messaging or that ask that didn't sit with people? And time. So some of you might be smaller teams, or maybe you're large teams, and that's even more difficult to pull people together and rally behind something. And it just feels like one more thing to add to the plate. So what I want you to do is at the table, turn to the person next to you, or if you're an odd number, you can have like a group of 3. And I want you to talk about what your blockers are, like sharing them out loud. Or if you do have a recurring first mentality, that's amazing. And I want you to share that openly with the people next to you. So we're going to take about 2 minutes, 3 minutes to share this with each other. And then we'll come back up. Go ahead. 2 things that came up as I was circling a few of the tables. One was around the concept of we've had it turned on to monthly and there's been donor confusion or giving monthly by accident, and therefore we switch back to one time. So a solution for this, it's so timely because I just wrote a LinkedIn post about this yesterday, is, again, it goes back to, have we primed our audience to give in this way? So is the messaging that's surrounding the giving leading and pulling people in and explaining that it's monthly, that this is recurring, that it's about the vision? Like, is that complementing the giving experience, or does it feel disconnected? That's a really big difference. 2, I specifically have and teach to have a monthly giving outside of on your main donation form, which, yes, would have one time and monthly. I recommend having a monthly giving landing page that has a monthly only form that has everything about the monthly giving program. And if somebody is frustrated by making a monthly gift on that page, like, that's their bad. They're very clearly on a page. And usually it's a few amount of people, not the mass majority, that are running into those issues. And then we can just kindly say, no problem, happy to turn your gift into one time. But again, there's going to be, in the changeover of getting to where you want people to be, there's going to be adjustment. But if you want to create, again, changing a culture of giving at an organization doesn't happen with the flip of a switch. It's going to take some time and some nurturing to get that right. But I have worked with organizations that when people come to their site, this is calling me in to give to something in a recurring way, and they know that, and therefore they build monthly giving programs that are substantial. But that just takes some time. The second thing that came up in conversation was around event-heavy work. How many of you run events, fundraising events every year? Okay, many. How many of you have a specific monthly giving ask moment at your events? Okay, massive opportunity. So at events is one of the best ways to have a monthly giving moment. This typically happens during a fund a need moment where traditionally you would get down to the giving levels where the MC is asking for something like $100 one-time ask, right? There's something, $250, something like that. Instead of it being one time, you take a beat, you make it a moment, you have the MC or whoever's on the stage talk about the impact of your monthly giving program. There's a story that's compelled by it. Maybe you ask for people who are monthly donors to stand up or do some sort of acknowledgement. And there's a great organization, actually, here in Chicago, Culinary Care. And they host a big gala every year, and she has a VIP experience for The Line, which is her monthly donor program. And you get access to this private room for Line members that has a special champagne tasting. And I think it was like Ben's, it was a corporate partner that sponsored that room experience. Or if that night you decided to give in this way, you would get access to that room. She had 60 new monthly donors in one night. It's a big deal. And this creates a ripple effect of giving. I've also had another organization where when somebody gave monthly, it was a more intimate event. So this depends on the scale. It was a room full of lawyers. Her organization's all about the next generation of lawyers and getting them to law school. And so she was asking for $250 to $400 a month because of the room. And if they said yes, they were given a champagne, like a glass champagne flute with those little wine symbols, what are they called? Charms, thank you, with a little gavel. And they got to take it home with them. And somebody brought it to them as they gave their monthly gift. It was like, cheers. That creates a fun experience. And she generated thousands of new MRR in one night because of also that giving amount level. But she knew the room. And it was like, we want you to sustain our work. It's wonderful that you come to these events every year, and the raffles are great. But if you want to be core to what we're doing, this is what we're asking for. So I just wanted to call out those two things that we talked about. Okay, so we have blockers, and now let's talk about goals. Who's familiar or has read 10x is easier than 2x? Wait, no one yet? All right, everyone's should run to Amazon and immediately pick up this book. It's so good. Or The Science of Scale. This has changed everything in how I consult with organizations and in my own business myself. When I read it, it immediately applied to the concept of monthly giving or any goal setting, truly, because it changes how you approach your blockers, your goals. And the core thesis is all around, if you just do 2 times of something, you're just going to do more of the same. Honestly, right? If you want to get 2% better, 5% better, you're going to just work probably a little bit harder and achieve those numbers. But 10x, that requires an entirely different strategy. There's only a certain amount of things that will get you down the pathway of 10x, and there's probably like 50 different things you could do for 2 times. It dissolves old blockers. This goal once you have it, gives you the permission to think differently, to think bolder and braver. And I'm going to give you an example of this. But first, I want you to think about, in relation to monthly giving, right now on the piece of paper in front of you, if you were to 10x what you have right now, what would that look like? What would a 10x goal look like for you? And think about that. And is what you're doing right now, do you think, could get you to that new number? And while you're writing that, I'll just tell you a story. So what does this look like in practice? So right now, I'm working with the Canadian Red Cross. We were just together in Toronto last week, presenting on this and hosting an internal DigiFest where we got together all of their vendors. Fundraise Up was there, and we announced their goal of trying to get to 1 million subscribers, 1 million sustainers, a 10x goal. This is changing everything about how their team is structured, that there is a team, what the roles are, what they're going to do from a budgetary standpoint, how we are approaching briefs look completely different, creative briefs, RFPs that are going out for work. They brought together vendors to have a transformative conversation about how to achieve this goal. And in their case, face-to-face has been a very strong acquisition growth channel, but it's a horrible retention play. If anybody else also runs face-to-face, retention is rough. It's rough and it's expensive. So there's going to be a big, bold pivot to digital. What is that going to look like? But it had to come from leadership buy-in at the top to go with this big goal of 10x growth. And what is it going to take, and what do we need to remove to get there? In the book, Benjamin talks about frame, floor, and focus. And floor specifically is an area, I think, in our world that we don't talk a lot about. When something doesn't work, what happens? Do we just try again next year and tweak a few things? Should it be fully removed? In this case, we talked about if face-to-face hits this floor, like our base of retention, something's changing. It's just not going to continue as it has been continuing for a decade. That cannot happen, again, because we have our frame, our focus on now a 10x goal. Also, I would say that's happening by 2030. So you also set a bold timeline so that it's not happening 10 years from now. What are the things that we're going to put into practice now? What would have to be true for you, based upon what number you just wrote down as your 10x goal, what would have to be true for that type of growth engine, that type of belief to happen? So now we're going to go into an audit together. There's going to be 5 questions. So make sure you have a piece of paper in front of you, which you should all have with your workbooks. And we're going to go through a pre-gift experience audit. So whether you want to look this up on your computers or mobile is actually really great because it gives us a different perspective. And I would imagine most of your traffic is probably highly mobile these days. So I'm going to guide you through the 5 questions. And we're going to pull up your websites, review some informations. And I just want to share, I love the Innocence Project. I think they do a beautiful job in their their belief content, specifically on social, but they do a really great job on their emails too. And I just want to pull up on their monthly giving page, help free the innocent every month. This is really small, so I'll read it. Become a part of the Innocence Project's community, bless you, of monthly supporters who give to free innocent people and transform the legal system. With your support, we can do even more. Donate monthly today. And here they have their dollar amount. So very clear that it's a monthly page. Again, specific, simple, emotional, one idea touch point, clear. So first question, if a stranger visited your homepage for 90 seconds, that's it, that's all I got. And that's actually probably giving you some generous time. 90 seconds. Would they walk away with a clear emotional understanding of what you uniquely stand for? 90 seconds. Is everybody good with question 1? Ready for 2? Okay. Question number 2. Is monthly giving the primary, most natural way to support your mission from the very first touch point. Yes, it's your lead opportunity or offer. 2, partially, like it's an option. Or no, one time is the default. One time is what your messaging is about. Again, take a couple of minutes for this one. Okay, moving on to number 3. Do you have content designed for someone who already believes in your cause but doesn't know you exist yet? They believe. Your copy is not generic. It's speaking to core identity language, not for existing donors, not for past volunteers, but for the stranger who might have just Googled the problem you solve, the person who already is a believer in the mission of your work, but they just don't know that you specifically exist yet. In this case, I like to call them, like me, they might be a 9-year believer, because that was me. I believed in this for 9 years. I just hadn't found December yet. So again, yes, you have like your TED Talk equivalent, partially or no, our content really assumes like giving readiness. Okay, we're gonna go to number 4. What happens to someone who visits your site and does not give on the first visit? Is there a designed sequence that deepens belief over time? So either yes, there is deliberate retargeting, nurturing, like partially, we might send an email if they subscribed to like our email newsletter or something, or no, they kind of just disappear and we hope that they come back. So again, like something really big to think about here is retention. If 80% of monthly donors stay, that retention is built before the gift, similar to what I had mentioned with Charity Water. It's built through every single touch point, every interaction. This is like the trust sequence, the belief that's starting beforehand. One example that's great, so Fundraise Up has the abandoned cart feature, right? So somebody puts in their email, what's happening in those emails? Are they seeing them? Are they coming back? Besides email, are there ads retargeting them? Is there a pop-up experience before they leave? Like what is happening right now if somebody decides to leave your site and not make a gift? And is it all ask-based after that, or is it having a different storytelling angle? Okay, this is not going to be the end of our auditing. One more question on this one. Number 5, does your monthly giving program offer donors an identity? Does it have a name, a community, a sense of belonging before and after the gift? You could say, yes, we have a name, community involvement. Like partially, we have a name, but there's not really a sense of community built amongst it. Or no, it's just very transactional right now. And so we're going through these questions to really understand where can we build and where can we make shifts and changes to really grow a dynamic program. So a couple of organizations, one, the Trevor Project, they started doing a webinar series that was really, really, really well responded to by their monthly donors. And so now they did a test, and then now they're continuing to do it where they get to hear from senior leadership. That's a test. Community, driving belonging. We just had Monthly Giving Awareness Week, and certain organizations won the monthlies, which is our version of the Webbies or the Oscars, and so they're sharing those awards with their monthly giving community. So that's really fun, like sending out emails, you won an award, like you are a part of this, making it fun, making it not feel, again, like a transactional experience. If you might have seen, there was a logo up on my circle of organizations that I give to monthly called the Hope Booth. And the Hope Booth is an Atlanta women-founded nonprofit. She takes telephone booths, if everybody remember those from back in the day, and refurbishes them and turns them into these beautiful mental health experiences, plants them back into the ground with an iPad on it. That's all scientifically done. That helps people find resources in their local communities. And she hosted a monthly giving dinner. There's 2 events I want to share with you. One, there was a monthly giving dinner that they organized for a small group of us, and they brought us into a room for dinner, And we got to hear about, A, the impact and what they've been working on. 2, it was amazing for me to just meet other members of the movement, which is what her program is called. 3, they talked about the vision and where they're going. And then they asked us to brainstorm. How can we grow the movement? What things do you love that we do? What things do you think that we could work on collectively together? And it was an internal brainstorm. So whether you can be hyper local with this, or like the Trevor Project, having a more mass virtual setting with this, it's how can we create those experiences? The second event I wanted to share around the sense of belonging and community is I came up with an idea for the Hope booth that was, it'd be really great if movement members would host an event at their house to invite their friends and family to learn more about the program. And so, of course, Gloria Umana is the founder. She goes, Dana, that's a great idea. Would you like to do that? And so sure enough, I did. I was like, you know what? I was like, I have to do it because I said I would do it. So on my birthday, I'm a St. Patrick's Day baby. So last year on my birthday, I invited friends over for a birthday party. And I said, you were going to experience my 3 favorite things: barbecue food, my favorite, one of the favorite organizations I give to, they're going to come and speak to us, and a scavenger hunt. So I did a nighttime scavenger hunt with my friends, and the Hope booth came. They brought sweatshirt swag, and they did like a presentation. If you've ever seen those Instagram stories about people doing presentations about their jobs, it was kind of like that. And they presented about what they do, and my friends were so into it. I was semi-shocked, but they were asking them a ton of questions. And in that room, there were 17 people. I think half of them signed up to be monthly donors, and everybody else bought the $50 sweatshirt. They were gone. That was on the table. But it was a great, again, hyper-local. If that becomes something that you can replicate and pass around, it's a great way to build community belonging connection. Okay, so we've just gone through a mini 5-step audit. That was very specific to the pre-gift. But that's only one part, of course, of the donor experience. So scan this QR code. We're going to talk about this one for a second. There's 25 questions. I'm going to put 5 minutes. I'm going to grab my phone. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock to find your recurring revenue gap. It's going to guide you through. Each section has 5 questions. After you get your results, talk about them at the table. Were you shocked? Were you surprised? Does this make sense? And then we're going to come back together. So make sure you scan that, and I'm going to walk around. Question number 1 is all about mission resonance. So if we look at, this is an example of a winning, this is Charity Water's winning direct page when they run ads, okay? So this is what's working the best, highly converting for them right now. Their hero section doesn't lead with their program name. Well, there's a couple things here. 1, there's no distraction on the navigation. If you notice, I know it's kind of small. The only thing is the logo and then to log in to their donor portal. But the copy, it's leading with a child's name. It's leading with the problem, the people. You feel it, what they're trying to do in 5 seconds. There's interesting $1 amount. Join today. Super brief, super clean, super clear, especially if you view this on mobile. Very easy to dissect. Going back to the science of neurogiving, no distractions, simple attention, not having your eyes look in a million different places. 2, for the second question that we talked about, monthly giving is the default. So this is IJM. So monthly giving is the first. It's the most prominent option. It says monthly giving gift. It's, again, to the question about, are we being clear? There's very much here in this page, if a donor makes the wrong choice, that is clearly just not looking at something or reading something. So trying to make it as clear as possible. These are not necessarily big organizational changes. They're decisions. They're just decisions that the team has to decide to make and stick with. Not when the first 5 people might say, oh, I didn't mean to give in this way. Stick with it and let it be a core test. Question number 3. This is something I loved, and when I started to become a monthly donor for ACLU, it was around, have you designed your content for someone who's Googled the problem you solve? So again, not for existing donors, thinking about that 9-year believer. So in this case, when they came out, they took out a full-page ad in the New York Times, and this was just brilliant. They were going after whatever your niche audience is. It's where are they? what is going to be read, what's going to make a big splash, and they did that. And you can't see this on here, but on the social posts, this got 100 and something thousand, 140,000 likes. But all of the comments, there's so many that say donating right now, signing up, and continuing on in their social content. I always see people like, this is why I'm a monthly donor. This is why I'm a monthly supporter. And secondly, which is also interesting, in the new surge of AI and GEO, is nonprofit brand name searches rose 19% after AI overviews rolled out, and organic fell 13%. So right now, are you findable? This is probably research you might be doing internally. Are you findable from a GEO perspective? Are you writing blogs? Is your website searchable? Are you coming up in AI searches on the LLM? So yes, SEO matters, but GEO or AEO, whichever one you decide to use, is it searchable? So SEO, how I say here, helps humans find you. AEO, GEO helps AI cite you. So if you're leading every page with an answer to a question that believers might ask, creating content about the problem, being on YouTube, like, are we surfacing us in the right way for this new age about how people are finding you? So again, ACOU, this was a masterclass in them doing this. Number 4, again, I'm just continuing on with IJM here. They have, again, a deliberate recurring first mentality in their ads that follow this as well. So if you leave the website, you immediately start to get retargeted. This case on Meta, this is story-driven retargeting. But Nawe, her story keeps showing up. It's relevant also to the page then you click on. So again, the trust sequence that we're brought into. And number 5, identifying your offer. So I'm also a monthly donor to the Surfrider Foundation. Your membership directly supports tangible, impactful solutions that safeguard our ocean, waves, and beaches. And it talks about what their program does, name, community, naming the common passion within the group, right? What's the identity and the offering for your donors? Clear and simple and prominent. So I wanted to show you kind of a before and an after of when you start to pull this belief into action. So Heroes for Children is a smaller organization in Texas. Their website at the top is what it looked like before. There was a lot going on in the navigation. There was a big YouTube video, and it was a long one that was front and center, so it was a little clunky. We worked together on a VIP intensive day for just a day and a half. So what I'm about to show you and what happened, it was in a day and a half. We rebranded their program, of their monthly giving program. As you notice here, there was a Give Monthly, Become a Monthly Donor was at the top, but it was the same color as the donate button. It was a little confusing. It was not a great user experience. We rewrote all the copy on their landing pages. We named their monthly giving community. They switched to Fundraise Up as a tech platform, and they made monthly a priority ask. Leading with no family should face childhood cancer alone. Belief. Yes, I agree with that to my core, right? What happened with them over the course of a year? So in May of last year, they had about 6 monthly donors, $376 coming in. This year, they're at 7,000 MRR in 1 year. Their average gift is $74 a month. Their retention rate is at 94%, and 25% of their total giving is now recurring. So on a smaller scale organization, this is a game changer. Now, just imagine the multiplication effect, dependent upon where you're at. If you can lead with belief, if you make the messaging, the priority changes, what can that change for the sustainability and the predictability of your mission? They started leading with this. It was core infrastructure now. Second, Roots Ethiopia. Again, smaller organization, 224 monthly donors. Their retention rate is right in that proof that we talked about earlier, 78.6% since 2022. Their recurring giving is 68% year to date of their total giving. Like, wow. Insane, but also fabulous for her because it's been sustainable and predictable. So when there's highs and lows, she knows she has this median to keep her flowing and grooving. So something that we've been working on with her specifically is, Where can we find your believers? Where can we go to deliver this message? You have the tech set up. You have everything else ready to go. How do we find more? She's never done events. She's never done anything experiential. So not that far away from her, there is this Ethiopian Sports Federation of America. And I asked her, where are you invisible right now that you should be seen? And you could ask yourself this question too. Where are we invisible that we should be seen? There is 40,000 people that are planning to be in attendance at this event. She reached out and she signed up for a booth. Now with the Fundraise up, like tap to donate, she's gonna have there on the site. She's coming with a really creative experience. She's gonna ask for $7 micro monthly giving gifts for people at the table. She is going to experiment and see, can I find my people here? Because I asked her, who are your 224 existing monthly donors? And we talked about it. And I was like, this is where they might be. So it's going to be a really interesting test. This is coming up. I think this is in, June, the end of June, July. So I will report back. So right now, while we are literally sitting here, right, people all around the world they're scrolling, they're watching a documentary, like I might have been, which I thought was fiction, about an issue that you work on. They're reading, they're talking, they're sharing, they're posting. They're talking to a friend about a cause area, about mission that you probably might do. That person could be your next monthly donor. They already believe. It just depends on how and where you show up and how you can guide them to now be a supporter of your mission and your work. So this is what I want you to live with. To really focus on finding your believers, setting them up to find you, supporting their belief, every channel, every message, every touch point. Focus on the soil. Call in the believers. You will be giving the permissions to people who have already decided. They just might not have found you yet.